The way things go, it makes it very tough to quit. You become dependent on the cycle. You become dependent on that paycheck, the stability. And then you don't really mind those comments, that feeling of worthlessness that they give you, and you continue to put up with the abuse. And these changes happen so slowly over a period of time that you simply aren't ready for it. And you don't know you're being abused. So wake up!
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarret Patton.
Welcome to this episode of Licensed to Live. My name is Dr. Jarret Patton, and I am your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. And then you'll stay up to date with all of the information about career and life changes. Today, we're going to take a quick dip into the cycle of abuse. Many of you guys have been abused in your jobs to the point where you don't even really accept it as abuse anymore. You feel like it's just the way things are. It is simply the way things go. And honestly, if this happens in any abusive relationship, people are going to be out of there. But when it comes to your job, sometimes you don't see it coming. And I'm going to give you the steps on what to do to get out of that relationship right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarret Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
This is Super Bowl champion Mike Logan, and you are listening to Licensed to Live.
And guess what, everybody? Licensed to Live, the conference is back. This year, we are having CME. This year, we have even added an extra day. So we have a VIP day and 2 full conference days of action. Now is the time to get your ticket, get yourself set up to come to Philadelphia and be ready for License to Live 2022, the conference. Just go to licensedtolive.com, get your details. and type in podcast in the code for a special discount. Oh man, I've been on the road again and I've had to resort to podcasting on the road. So I know this may not quite sound like the regular studio, but had to get some information out to you guys. I've been on the road speaking at a couple of different events, and one I want to start talking about right now is where I am at this moment as I'm recording. I am in Houston, Texas. I was at the Locums Doc Summit sponsored by Dr. Stephanie Freeman. She's an ICU doc that strictly works as a locum tenens doctor, and she has a lot of control in her work life. In fact, she calls all her shots because she is working as a contractor. So she was able to deliver a lot of knowledge about different things that you can do to modify your career. But one of the best things that we talked about during that time is really that cycle of abuse. So I was going to talk about that today so that you can have that. Shout out to Dr. Stephanie for doing such a great job of putting on that conference in Houston. I met doctors from all over the country, as far away places as the Quad Cities that I didn't really even know about. But shout out to the Quad Cities, shout out to a lot of the people in Texas. And it was great just being a speaker at that event. I spoke about resilience. You know, that's one of my major themes in the License to Live brand because, well, in order to survive in this healthcare workforce, you have to build your resilience. So I gave lots of strategies on how to build resilience and just had some fun storytelling. And it was a great adventure. So shout out to Dr. Stephanie for putting on such a great conference. And I was looking at so many of these doctors that use locums to practice their career to an extent that they really do have freedom. They have freedom to travel, freedom of choice, freedom of when they want to take assignments, where. If it's somewhere they don't like, they're out of there. And that is one of the things that helps keep some of these locum doctors out of just getting in that burnt out realm because they're not getting abused. If you show up at a place, work at a place 1 week, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and you see that they're crazy, the good thing is you don't have to go back there. You don't even have to worry about it anymore because, well, you never have to go back there. So if she has some replays out on the internet, go back. If you are interested in locum tenens, you're going to get a lot of good information. But back to this abuse scenario, some of the things that happen with doctors and other people as they're coming into the workforce and getting in the job finding process. You go through some interviews and things start off really, really good. Oh, we're so happy to see you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, things are going to be so great. We're welcome to have you on board. They're rolling out the red carpets for you. And you're like, oh, this place is cracking up what it needs to be. But soon the newness of you and the newness of the job starts to wear off. And then you start to see some of the flaws that may have been there that you couldn't see on those interviews before. So you're pulling up to a permanent position and you're like, I just packed up and moved my family from one state to another for this job. And I'm here only 3 months and I already know that it sucks. So what are you to do? A lot of times, people sign bad contracts. We've had episodes on the things to look out for those contracts. We look at the no compete. But one of the things I often tell people is, you know, you have to look out for yourself. And if you're not happy, things aren't going to change in that system. Systemic change takes a very long time to kick in. And you are not going to be able to tolerate waiting for the system to change into a better something. And this is, you know, almost like any relationship that's out there. It's something that can happen, but it happens, you know, at a certain time in life. And people get stuck. They just say, I just came here. I don't want to seem like a failure and get out of this situation. I'm going to try to tough it out. And that's when the cycle to burnout begins. You're just trying to get through every day. You're trying to do what you think is best for your career. You're trying to be a good teammate. You're trying to be a good sport. And none of this happens in the right order. So the first thing that you have to consider is, well, when to quit. When to quit. Sometimes, even after you've just shown up at a place and you've given it a good fair trial, and I'm not, so I don't want to get you confused and let you think, well, I'm not going to even give it a try. There's no hope. No, definitely give it a try, and even go as far to tell some trusted confidants on what some of the issues are. And then, of course, you may want to go to your boss. And we've talked about strategies, how to get what you want in your career without having to change your career all around. That's some of the things we talk about. I'll put a couple of the links in the show notes to those episodes that describe those techniques in detail. So I don't want you to just say, this sucks, I'm going to quit. Well, that's kind of what I want you to do, but just be a little thoughtful about it, because quitting is going to be the first step of you getting out of this bad arrangement. And this is, you could probably, if I were a marriage counselor or a couples coach or something, it's probably the same thing for any kind of relationship. It's something that you would want to do, but it's something that you need to spend a little time working on. So, yes, you must quit. All right. Well, how do you quit? You give the notice, whatever they specified in your contract, and, well, now's the time you have to get help. So number 2 is getting help, because in an abrupt change like this, you're going to want to develop a strategy. And in order to end this cycle of abuse on yourself, you're going to need to get some help. And that could be, all right, well, like we were talking about in this locum tenens conference, maybe you just want to work as a contractor and you'll travel to different places, or maybe even around your general area. That could be a possibility. Another possibility is saying, you know what, maybe I'm done with this altogether and I need to find something else in order to make my life happy, because this trail and healthcare just didn't pan out the way that I thought it would. And by the time I realized it, I had to go. Yes, take some time to get some help. So ask a friend, ask somebody that's been there before. Reach out to a mentor. These are the types of people that are here to help you get some help, just in case you don't know where to go, because you should probably have a plan before you finally quit. And we had an episode from one of the quitting masters in the I Quit episode. Oh my goodness, that must have been back in episode, 40 something, maybe 50 something, but trust me, I'll put them in the show notes, with a quitting specialist who told us exactly how to quit. But developing that plan is going to be the thing in which you will gain confidence, because this is what I tell people all the time, whether I'm on a television interview, it's all about that paycheck. The paycheck is the hook that keeps people falling for bad position time after time after time after time. There's no need to do that. So if that is your main motivation for working, it's time to find a different paycheck. And in fact, one of the chapters in License to Live, the original License to Live book, we talk about recalibrating your finances, because what tends to happen is people overspend, they overuse their own paycheck. So they're already outspending what they make because they don't account for taxes and some other things. And so, like many people in the U.S., you are left living from check to check. And that's when they have you trapped. So you're going to have to look for something else that will provide you some income. And the door is wide open. This is one of the reasons we have this podcast. We have talked about all of these other opportunities. We bring in leadership people. We bring in non-clinical jobs people. We bring in people that are just doing something totally different, like movie producers. You name it, we've tried to show this to you on this show so that you know where we're going. So you may need to get some help. You may need to reach out to a friend, a mentor, a confidant, somebody, and then develop that plan. And I'll talk about the plan right after we finish thanking the sponsor.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarret's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarret.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
Yes, the plan. This is the tough part. But this is the part that I want you to step back 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 steps. I want you to really take a wide look, because the biggest thing that we do is jump right back into a situation that we already had because it seems familiar. It seems there, but you may get tricked again and end up in a really rotten place. So take the time to see, hey, is what I'm doing in my job really what I need to be doing in my job? Or is this something I should be doing in another manner? You guys that have heard me on stage, you'll often hear me talk about my desire to want to drive a truck when I was a kid. And I enjoyed riding my bike around the neighborhood. I would see these 18-wheelers rolling through. They'd be so cool, delivering Budweiser or produce or, I don't know, tires, whatever they keep on trucks. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I still like to get behind the wheel. I still like to drive on trips. I didn't drive to Houston. I flew. It's too far from Philadelphia. But if I had more time, I probably would just drive because, I like to be behind the wheel. But I never really found a way to incorporate that into my career, other than maybe you could become an Uber driver or something on the side. But I've never really found a way to incorporate that into my career until, I didn't have a career. And you guys know that story. I went on to get my commercial driver's license even after I was a physician, but I was unemployable as a part of my License to Live story. And I had to try to do something. And so I said, I like to drive. I might as well take the commercial driver's license test and drive. And that would have worked out, except I couldn't pass the air brake test. I went into the DMV so many times trying to take the passenger certification or the hazmat certification or the air brakes. And I didn't know the first thing about air brakes, how they worked. I'm not a mechanic, and I certainly haven't worked on a car, really a truck that would have air brakes. So I just knew nothing about the mechanism, even though it's in the book, but I couldn't pass it. So I had to move on. But for you, it can be something similar. It just has to be a part of your core personality, a part of your core principles. Because if those things don't line up with your job, you're simply working for a paycheck. So take inventory of all the things that you like in your career, all the things that you don't like, and write them down on a list. It's a simple exercise. And what you will find is that, your job is probably okay if you could just remove some of those things. And then you don't have to go through the whole quit, get some help, and go through. You can actually try to trim some of these things out. And I've helped my clients do that all the time. And it's really a simple strategy. It's a simple strategy behind asking for what you want and what you need. And guess what? When you do it in the right way, that actually happens, and people don't have to leave their jobs. They say, Dr. Jarret, you're about people quitting their jobs and doing something different than this. Yeah, if that's in your cards, but it may not be. It may be something much more simple that you just never had the courage to tell anybody because you just wanted to suck up and do it and be a good sport about it. Don't sit around in misery because it's not worth it. That's what I'm saying to you guys today. So if you feel like you're in an abusive work relationship, make preparations to quit, get a little bit of help, and then develop that plan and make a plan that is going to be unfollowable, whether you are able to work out something to stay in that position or you need to do something completely different. That's why I want you to step back 5 steps, 10 steps, a mile, and get out of that tunnel vision that you've had over these past years and months that keep you in an unhappy position. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe to License to Live. And while you're there, please rate this episode and give me honest feedback so I make sure that I'm providing you with the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And make sure you come out to Philadelphia this summer. We will have the best conference ever, License to Live 2020. Go to licensedtolive.com. Get your tickets today. And I will see you in Philadelphia. Until I see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarret's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.